Welcome to another episode of Next Meridian Expedition. Today with Mathilde we're going to talk to you about our 15 favorite items in the Defender and why we think they're important to bring on a world tour such as ours. Anything else?
No, that's the goal of the video.
We have our 220 inverter here, which is right behind the QB box, behind the driver's seat. And on top of it we have inside this cabinet a multi-plug. It's perfect because we can charge everything while we're on the road or while we're sleeping, so it's very handy to us. And because of the lithium batteries that we have under the car, it has enough charge to last at least 2-3 days. And this brings me to my next item, which is the solar panels. The solar panel is super handy to us. This is a 100-watt solar panel on the roof. It's fixed, and to us it's super handy because while we're parked somewhere, the car can still be charging up the battery from the sun. It's all free. It's very handy for when we're doing nothing and to not deplete our battery. We have a second solar panel, which is from the same company, Sunwear, which is a plug-and-play panel which we can put outside, so it's very handy as well. As when we're really parked, we can just put it outside and it will do a double charge from 100 watts of the first one, which is the fixed one on the roof, and the 100 plug and play, so we got 200 watts coming in. And this really helps to maintain the battery level at a very high level while the sun is out and while we're charging all our equipment.
Next item is the compact cooking equipment. First, the pans. It's so useful. We have the handle on one side and we can just clip it on our different pans. We discovered that this is pretty original in the USA. Like in France at least it's very common, but in the USA everyone was looking at this as a camping thing, but in France people have this in their home. But for us it's perfect, so it clips on the different pans and we can cook like this. Same thing with our frying pan, like it's foldable. This is just essential. Can you imagine how much space that would take versus, I always struggle, this. So that's for the cooking set, and then we have the same thing on the plate side. We have bowls and plates that are entirely foldable. It's not as nice as eating in a real plate, but honestly you've been saving so much space. In there we have a glass, 2 bowls, 2 plates and a cutting board. So we really like this set because eventually we have an entire kitchen that fits in this little box, and more actually. And look how thin it gets. Oop. We just put it in a frying pan and it disappeared.
Wow. Trasheroo is our next item. It's the bag which comes behind the spare wheel. We really like the Trasheroo because it's outdoors and a lot of things can fit in the Trasheroo. Usually we put in here our trash, we put our dirty clothes, we put our extra oils, we put our dish cleaner, camera pod. So there's actually a lot of things that can fit, and at least all the smell stays outside for the trash and the dirty clothes as well, and they don't bother us inside. In terms of theft, we've never had a problem, and I don't think people will steal what we have in there, and if they do, it would be a pity, but it's not the end of the world. So for us, Trasheroo or similar brands are one of our really great items as well. We really like this, and it looks pretty cool. And in the Trasheroo we have our next item, which is the foldable sink. So the foldable sink is something really just basic, but we really like it because something so small can be so handy. And doing the dishes is something we do twice a day for us, sometimes 3 times when we have breakfast. And what's great about it is that you can just push it, it becomes a full sink, and just close it flat again, and boom. So this comes very handy when on the road. It is an exterior piece of equipment, so we do clean our dishes outside, sometimes inside, but yeah, this is one of our equipments. It's perfect.
It saves water, a lot of water. Next item is our lifesaver jerry can. So it's a water jerry can, 20 liters. It's pretty heavy now because it's full. Why we like it so much is it's such a peace of mind item. It filters water, so you can take water from a river or from other places where you're not sure of the quality of the water, and then you have a system of filters with charcoals that will do an entire filtering of the water so that it's better to drink. And we didn't have to use it that much because we traveled in Northern Europe and North America, where quality of water is not too much of an issue. But now, starting Mexico, it just reassures me a lot that we actually have this item with us. How it works is that you have a little comment t'appelles ça? Tap?
Yeah.
You have a little tap on this end that you can open or close, and then on this one you will filter the water through the filtering system and it will come out this way. So lifesaver, very reassuring piece of equipment.
Our next item is the brush. Quick access right here. So we've got two of these, one in the back, quick access from the back door, very handy, and the other one is in the front next to the driver's seat. It's for the front. So the brush is actually something very basic. It probably costs like a euro. We actually got ours in IKEA, and very handy because, you know, when you're living inside the car, it's so small, and it's like what, 4 meters squared for 2 people. There's a lot of hair, there's sometimes dust, there's sand, there is whatever. And so when we remove the carpet, all we have to do is just brush off the floor and it's done. And so literally the brush comes in very handy, because without the brush, what we would be doing, taking paper towels or cleaning up with our hands, not great. The brush is for us a perfect solution, and keeping the car clean really just frees your mind of, you know, like stress or thinking of like, oh gosh, I'm stepping on like, you know, dirt and mess and bringing it into the bed. So in the end, it's a very handy piece of equipment.
Next on the list is our compressor, ARB dual air compressor. That's how it's called?
Yep.
Yeah. Why do we like it? It's because we had like, let's say, a more traditional air compressor before, and it was so long to put air in those tires. It was just, you know, we were tired before even starting, and we go so much like off-road, on-road, off-road, on-road, off-road, on-road, like for quality, like for the preserving the car, for quality of the driving, for just being more successful on our trails. It's essential that we adapt constantly the tire pressure, and this air compressor made it much easier. It's like, it really takes like 2 seconds to set up, and then it's very fast to put air in the tire. So basically we just plug that in, and then it's all ready. We turn it on here, and then we can go around the car with this gauge and put air or remove air from the tire. So that's useful.
Our next equipment is the chairs. So in our bonnet bag in the front here, we keep mostly the exterior equipment like camping and things like that, chairs, shower tent. So we have chairs here, foldable chairs, very handy because they can be pulled out in 2 seconds, and you can enjoy the view, enjoy the moment, and you don't need to sit in the car or need to go find a bench or create a bench. This is super handy. It is very basic, but when you're on the road, a chair, since you know you want to live outdoors, is coming very handy. And while I'm at it, I'm going to go to the next item, which is the shower tent, also in here. So the shower tent is a circular shaped bag which you just throw. In a second it pops open into a big shower tent. We're going to put it up on the screen so you can see it. And this is very handy because since we have an exterior shower, hot water, and we don't want to shower in the open, or maybe there's too much wind, or there's sand, or there's people around, it's the perfect way to keep yourself covered and just take a shower without having to stress out. So the shower tent is very useful, and we really like that piece of equipment as well.
Next item, our side table. It's a Rough Parts product. It's a Swiss equipment brand, and we really like it because, one, we can still store things on it, so we have our max tracks on the side, but also because all of our setup is turned toward the outside, we need a place to cook, we need a place to like write stuff, we need a place to do our sandwiches, whatever we need, we have this big table where we can work. You might notice that it's a tiny bit high for me, but my way around that is that we have 2 levelers for the car, so I just put that under my feet and it brings me to a higher level. For Nick it's the perfect size. For me, yeah, a bit high, but we really like it. It gives us a lot of comfort in terms of working around the car. Next piece of equipment, those 2. Okay, it might sound a bit like basic. You're going to say, oh, a water bottle. They're like a thermos bottle. But we were thinking about what we enjoy the most, and at least for me, I love that those 2 keep the water cold. So when we drive in very warm places, the entire car becomes warm. The entire water in the car becomes warm. But if we feel that in the morning, then we have cold water and fresh water all day, and vice versa. If we are in very cold places, the entire car becomes cold, and so we can feel that with hot water. So those ones have become like a piece of comfort somehow. Next piece of equipment, our Coleman gas cooker, but gasoline cooker, not gas. Let me show you. We have traditional gas camper cookers with only 1 stove on it, which are great for a 1 week, 2 weeks trip. For a long time trip, what we didn't really like with those is that you need to find the gas bottles that are not that easy to find in all the countries, that may have different plugs, and it comes out pretty expensive over time. I don't know, 1 gas bottle is maybe like $8 in the US or $7 in the US. And if you add that every week, it becomes very expensive. What we love with this one is that you can cook with unleaded gasoline, so that you find everywhere. If you have a car and you need to refuel your car, you will go to a gas station to get that. And with a full tank, we can easily cook for 2 weeks. We have also an extra storage that we store in the trash room. Eventually, this 2 week of cooking cost us maybe $1 or €1.50, maybe $2 maximum for 2 stoves. So it's cheap, we find it everywhere, and the last thing we enjoy is that we can repair it ourselves. Last but not least, a good, very, very good winter jacket. In my case, a wrap puffy jacket that has been on me for most of those past 8 months. Why is it so important? Because all of our setup is toward the outside, and you might say, oh, but you're not in cold places all the time. No, but even when it's 5 or 10 degrees in the evening, or when you're high in elevation, then this comes very handy. If you need to cook outside, work outside every day, you just want to be comfortable and not think about the cold, and this is a sleeping bag, like a moving sleeping bag. So we're very happy with a great winter jacket, and we're also wearing them in places that are not full of snow, so think about it. So there are tons of equipment in the car, but we really try to think about the little things that change our life on the road with the setup that we have. So I'm sure it's going to be useful, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask in comments. We answer every comment on the channel.
Yes, we do. Take care, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye!